right, Vera, and back we go to Cape Canaveral, Florida, and the Kennedy Space Center, where we've got just 1 minute to go to watch space history, a historic moon mission that NASA is about to launch, along with other space agencies like the European Space Agency around the world. This is so exciting. This mission has been scrapped several times. It has been plagued with leaks, and this is now a go with 40 seconds to go to launch.
And this will be remarkable and something to see with the naked eye as far as 300 miles away, parts of South Georgia, all the way down to the southern tip of South Florida and beyond, potentially. Clear skies and that launch window weather giving a 90% probability of favorable weather. And clearly, all systems are go here with 15 seconds to launch. Let's watch live.
We are go for ALS. The Space Launch System is now counting down to liftoff of Orion on its maiden voyage to the moon. Launch team can no longer recycle the count. Sound suppressor water now flowing
15.
under the ML. And here we go.
10.
Hydrogen burn-off igniters initiate. 7, 6, 5. 4-stage engine start. 3, 2, 1. Boosters in ignition.
The vehicle at 128 miles per hour.
We rise together.
Hearing good control on the roll from teams in Mission Control Houston. All good calls so far. Now 30 seconds into the flight of Artemis 1. First milestone will be for the vehicle to pass through max Q at about 1 minute and 9 seconds into launch. This is the greatest period of atmospheric force on the rocket.
This is the most powerful rocket in the world. It is going to fly farther than any spacecraft built for humans and that has ever flown. It's going to travel 280,000 miles from Earth, thousands of miles beyond the moon, over the course of about what is projected to be 26 days, and then come in for re-entry, landing near Baja, California.
And a successful launch to this point for what has been a beleaguered mission. It was initially scheduled to launch in August. There were a number of fuel glitches that initially delayed the launch. Then, as they moved the Space Launch System out to Pad 39B at the Kennedy Space Center, Hurricane Ian came into sights. They had to move the entire system back into shelter. Once the hurricane passed, they moved the system back onto the launch pad, only to see Hurricane Nicole take sight on Florida. That storm passed as well, and they deemed the damage to be insignificant to the successful launch probability. They moved ahead with the mission, only to run into another problem here late in the game involving an intermittent hydrogen leak that was repaired by what's known as a red team on the launch pad with just 2 hours before the opening of that launch window. And yet one more problem, an East Range Radar satellite connectivity issue with just an hour before this window opened. All of those issues remarkably resolved under the gun of time here by an incredible NASA team that must be most relieved tonight to see this mission launch on time in the window, now 2 minutes, 38 seconds ago.
7-foot boosters hearing nominal calls here in Mission Control Houston. Now the core stage continues to power. We've still got 4 good engines on the core stage.
And you're listening to the live feed there from NASA as they discuss the separation from that rocket. And the Artemis moon missions are going to be one to watch and increasingly difficult and challenging as they continue. And if this is a success and they start to send humans there, when they do, it will launch the first woman to the moon and the first person of color to the moon. They will be going to the south side of the moon, the dark side of the moon, where there is believed to be ice water, where they can do scientific experiments and see if that is going to be a good resource for them. This all, of course, will lead to possible missions to Mars.
So that crewed Artemis 2 launch is scheduled tentatively for sometime in 2024 and will put humans back on the moon near the lunar South Pole, with Artemis 3 in 2025 or 26, with long-range goals of making that a launching point for future exploration on Mars.
Right now, powering the first
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.